My name is Melissa Baldock from the Municipal Art Society. I'm going to take a few minutes to talk about Admirals Row, a group of buildings threatened with demolition that have a unique place in America's naval history. Admirals Row is located on the edge of the Brooklyn Navy Yard, one of the country's most important shipbuilding facilities from 1801 until its closure in 1966. Some of America's most famous warships were built and launched at the Brooklyn Navy Yard, like the USS Missouri, which is where the Japanese surrender took place in 1945. Since 1971, the Navy Yard has been used as an industrial park, and today it is one of New York's largest industrial districts with over 300 thriving businesses. Admirals Row is located in the southeast corner of the Navy Yard along Flushing Avenue. The 10 houses that make up Admirals Row were built between 1850 and 1901 and housed high-ranking naval officials. Next to the houses is the timber shed, a building dating from the 1830s where shipmasts and other wood was cured. The timber shed is extremely significant as it is likely the last remaining building of its kind in all of the United States. Due to decades of neglect, the buildings have severely deteriorated, but are still standing. The federal government, which owns the site, is in the process of selling the land to the Brooklyn Navy Yard Development Corporation, part of the New York City government. The Navy Yard has proposed demolishing the buildings and clearing the site in order to develop a suburban-style grocery store with 356 parking spaces and an additional industrial building. MAS recognizes the need for a grocery store in the area and for additional industrial space for the Brooklyn Navy Yard, but we believe it's critical to preserve Admirals Row. The good news is the site is big enough to do both. Because the historic structures only take up a fraction of the total site, the buildings can be retained and the grocery store and the Navy Yard space can be built if the site plan is reconfigured. For example, the parking could be accommodated in a parking garage and the grocery store and industrial building could be combined into one structure. But after 40 years of neglect, can these buildings be saved? The answer is yes. Professional assessments of the buildings have shown that they can definitely be repaired and reused. And in fact, there are many examples of buildings that were in a comparable state of disrepair that have been restored. Buildings like the Octagon on Roosevelt Island, the Ellis Island structures, and this school in the Bedside section of Brooklyn have all been rehabilitated. Admirals Row can also have a brand new life. Possible uses could be a job training center, studio space, incubator offices, or a community arts center, or even a daycare facility. But ultimately, it should be the community that decides what goes into these buildings. So preserving and reusing Admirals Row can be done, but the political will has to be there. The city and the federal government need to hear from New Yorkers like you that these buildings should be saved. Visit mas.org/Admirals Row to send an email to decision makers and get updates. Thanks for watching.